Today, we are diving deep into a dark, incredibly political, and reality-bending story from the early 1980s that really did change Marvel Comics forever.
That's how people describe Alan Moore's run on Captain Britain, and honestly, they're not wrong. We're about to show you exactly why. Okay, let's get into it. So where does this all kick off? Well, not with some huge explosion or cosmic brawl, but with a funeral. And right away, that sets this somber, really uncertain tone for everything that's about to happen. This whole arc takes place over just 7 issues, from late '83 to mid-'84. But man, in that short run, it completely dismantles and then rebuilds the entire Captain Britain mythology from the ground up. The story opens with the burial of the all-powerful mage Merlin. And his death, it isn't presented as some heroic sacrifice. It's handled more like a change in cosmic management, a corporate takeover. And the feeling you're left with is that the safety net holding up the entire universe has just been yanked away, leaving everyone completely vulnerable. And this is where our hero, Brian Braddock, gets hit with this just core, uncomfortable truth. He wasn't saved out of kindness. He was repurposed. Merlin's final message basically reframes every sacrifice Brian has ever made. He's not a savior. He's a weapon, a pawn, being moved into position for a game he doesn't even get. It just flips the whole superhero idea on its head.
So, you've got this big cosmic drama happening, but where the story really gets scary is when it comes down to Earth. Because the true horror here doesn't start with gods and monsters, it starts in the halls of Parliament.
And this is what's so brilliant and terrifying about the villain, Jim Jaspers. He's not some mustache-twirling caricature. He's smart. He campaigns on public safety, points to superhumans as this existential threat, and he even uses real-world examples like President Reagan pardoning the Hulk as proof that the system is broken. And his arguments, they sound reasonable, they sound logical, right up until the moment they absolutely don't.
And you have to remember the context here. Moore was writing about superhero registration and weaponizing public fear over 30 years before Marvel made it a huge mainstream event with Civil War. This was prophetic stuff for a comic in 1983. It's not just a story about a hero punching a villain. It's a parable about how easily a society, when it's afraid, can be convinced to vote for its own cage.
But it's not all doom and gloom. Well, not all of it. In the middle of this rising apocalypse, we get this rare moment of genuine warmth. We meet Megan, a young shapeshifter who Brian finds sheltering on his property. It's one of the few truly human moments in the story, and it feels like this small, crucial flame of compassion against all that encroaching darkness.
Okay, and this is where things get weird. Jaspers' political extremism stops being a metaphor. It becomes a literal physical corruption of reality itself, a plague that gets known as the Jaspers Warp.
As this warp starts spreading, mutating normal people into these grotesque creatures called warpies, it's Brian's own sister, Betsy Braddock, who perfectly captures the horror of living inside it. The streets are literally wrong, buildings banned, and the world they all knew is just becoming unrecognizable.
So, all that talk about fascism, it's not just talk anymore. It's real. The ideas have become a physical reality, with concentration camps, curfews, and soldiers marching through the twisted, nightmarish streets of London.
And this might be the most chilling part. The warp is an oppression so complete that it doesn't just take away your freedom, it takes away your sense of time. As Betsy says, you can't even tell if it's been days or months. And when oppression steals your sense of time, it steals your hope. Because how can you ever imagine an end?
So, when Captain Britain finally goes to face Jaspers, you'd expect this epic fistfight, right? Nope. What he gets is a Kafkaesque nightmare. Jaspers doesn't try to kill him. He just plays with him. He tortures Brian with false memories, twisting his entire identity, until he gets bored and casually traps him in a combine harvester. He's showing that the very concept of heroism is just another thing he can bend and break.
But just when you think things can't possibly get any worse, they do. An old enemy, this relentless killing machine called the Fury, shows up, and its arrival kicks off one of the most terrifying and incredible sequences in comic book history.
So on one side, you have Jaspers. He's not a politician anymore. He's basically a god of pure creative chaos. He can rewrite reality with a thought, and his very existence is threatening the entire omniverse.
And on the other side, you have the Fury.
It's not evil, it's a function. It's a machine built for one single purpose, to kill superhumans. And it cannot be stopped. It just adapts and keeps coming.
So what you have is a battle between two different flavors of apocalypse, the madness of unlimited creation versus the cold logic of unstoppable destruction. And the story makes it brutally clear, there is no good guy here. No matter who wins this fight, the world loses.
And the way it ends is just genius. It's not about who's stronger, it's about logic. The Fury teleports Jaspers to a total void, a place where there's no reality for him to warp, and there, kills him. But then, the exhausted Fury is immediately torn to pieces by Captain UK, another hero. But she's not acting out of justice. She's acting out of pure, raw vengeance for what was done to her universe. There are no clean victories here.
You know how most superhero stories end with everything going back to normal? Yeah, Alan Moore doesn't do that. The monster's dead, sure, but the world isn't saved. It is permanently scarred. The wound never really closes. But from those scars, something new grew. The mutated children, the Warpies, they became a fixture in the world. Betsy Braddock went on to become the famous X-Man, Psylocke. And the legendary X-Men writer Chris Claremont was so blown away by this story that he co-created the Team Excalibur, picking up the adventures of Captain Britain and Megan right where this left off.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This whole story took a forgotten, commercially failed character and built something genuinely profound around him. It became this incredible parable about fascism, about trauma, and about the staggering cost of survival. It didn't just change a character, it changed what a mainstream superhero comic could even be.
And that leaves us with one final thought. A question that takes this dark comic book story and turns it into a warning that feels, well, pretty timeless. Thanks for watching.